Hi, this is Bethany Connor at Science Museum, Oklahoma, and I'm going to be showing you two different origami projects in this video. Or actually just one origami project, this butterfly, but we're going to do it two different ways. So I am using Taunt brand origami paper. Later on, a technique we're going to use, this paper is really good for that, and I'll explain it more later, but it's really just also a good origami paper to use, period. So using the Taunt brand origami paper, and our first step is just to fold our paper in half, that edge to that edge. So do that. Make sure you get your corners lined up as exact as possible. As precise as you can be. Folding origami, it makes everything easier. And I like to take my thumbnail and kind of run along there just to make sure it's a really good crease. A lot of people will actually use like a craft stick or an edge of something else and just make sure it's a good crisp crease. So next step is to take this edge and fold it up to that edge, like so. Flatten that down. And now for a very special fold we call the squash fold. So you can see with my paper folded in quarters, I've got these kind of pockets right here. So if I have it laid down like this, I can pull up one of these flaps, open up the pocket, and then here's where the name comes in. I'm gonna kind of squash it down. Now it's important for this kind of crease you can see right here to match up with the edge on the inside. So you're just gonna line it up like that, all right? Line it up and squash it down. There we go. And now I am just flipping it over, and we're gonna do it on this side as well. So I'm gonna take this flap and kind of fold it back that way, make sure that crease is really good, then open it up. Oops. And flatten that side down as well, making sure it all lines up. It should fold down to the exact same shape. A lot of the time this precision stuff takes a little practice, so if it's not perfect the first time around, don't worry about it. And now I have this shape right here. This is how it looks like. That side, we lay it down, and I've got a nice little triangle. Now the next step is to take these two outside edges and fold them up to this top corner. We're not folding the entire corner, we're just folding this top piece right there. So take it up to the top, flatten that down, like so, and then on this side as well. Sure that bottom corner doesn't get goofy. All right, now we flip it over again. And this step is this bottom corner. Again, not everything at the bottom corner, just this little top piece. I'm gonna fold it up, and the point here is going to actually go past the edge up here. About 1/4 of an inch, it does not have to be exact. Just fold it upward like that. That's about good. And then I'm gonna press this down on the inside. Don't think you'll be able to go all the way to the edge. You're gonna end up with some 3D-ness kind of in there, but we want that, it's good. So press that down. And then this corner is going to get folded back behind the edge. So just bend it over, pinch it along that edge to crease it. And if I let go of this, it comes apart a lot, but that's okay. We're gonna fix it the next step. So just hold it like that and flip it over again. You're going to see that we have what looks like our butterfly. We're almost done. So the last step is just to fold this part in half along this center line you should see right here. And the little, I guess our little butterfly head right here, I like to actually kind of put my thumbnail there to help fold it in half, just to make sure it gets included. So that folds in half. Then on this back edge, you can kind of see we're gonna just crease it really hard. Down that little piece. And then we're done. That's our finished butterfly. I really love this design because I think it's simple, but it's really beautiful. It's by a prestigious Japanese origami mastermind, Akira Yoshizawa, and he designed thousands of amazing origami models. You can go check him out. So we're going to do the same design over again, but this time we are going to get our paper wet. It's called wet folding. It's a similar process, but we're going to spray our paper with water. Now the water is going to do a few different things. The fibers in the paper, when they get wet, they're going to expand, and the material itself is going to become more flexible. So normal dry paper, you have that kind of stiff, it's very crisp, and just to contrast, I've got a piece of fabric here, and you can see when I fold the fabric, it kind of has, it's got that drape to it, right? So the wet paper is not going to be just like the fabric, but it's going to be a little closer to that. So as we fold our butterfly, we're going to get more natural shapes as we fold. Now this is why I'm using the taunt paper for this. It's because the brand is a thicker paper. It's not the only one you can use, but it is thicker. If you get, say, one of those origami papers that's a lot thinner, more like computer paper, if you get those wet, they're going to get really soggy and tear very easily and kind of be a mess. So that's why I'm using kind of thicker, more textured paper like this. All right, so to do this, I'm gonna get these out of the way. They don't need to get wet. We've got our water. It's also good to have a paper towel on hand. We don't want the paper to become soaked. We just want to give it a light misting. So I'm gonna do one of these. Then I'm going to take my paper towel, get my surface clean, and then just kind of wipe my paper down. Oh, and it's stuck, so I guess watch out for that. Gonna wipe away the excess water. All right, now we're gonna start just the way we did before. And when your origami paper is wet, you don't want to do a lot of like pulling and pressing. Those wet edges are actually going to hold creases pretty well as the binders in the paper get wet and then reharden. So you don't want to do anything that might tear the paper, and you don't really need to. And we're doing this step. I am pressing down with a lot of pressure, but I'm just not doing that thing I was doing before with my thumbnail or with a craft stick. And then we have our squash fold. I'll show you as I go. A lot of things, when I wet fold, I kind of get a bit more selective with where I make creases. You'll see. You can get creative and you can experiment a lot. You don't have to do it exactly the way I'm doing. You can try it this way and then try it another way. Lightly kind of. It's a little more fussy with the wet paper. And it's a very different feel. I got this quite damp and it's not causing me issues, but you can always start out with a little water, and then if you find it's not making much of a difference from the dry paper, you can add more water. I went a little bit heavy and it turned out fine, but you know, you can always start small and go bigger if you need to. And I will often respray very lightly in the middle of doing a model if I get to where I feel like I want a certain fold to have, you know, more moisture holding it together. So come to this part. Remember, we've got those corners and they go up to the top. I am not, here's the thing. So I'm not gonna press these down as hard. In fact, I'm not gonna even press all the way to the edge, I think. Let's see. I'm gonna crease it halfway. And then just to leave a slightly softer shape, I'm gonna leave this curved on the edge. In fact, I might even do this. I might actually kind of, the cool thing with the wet folding is that you can almost kind of model, like it's almost like sculpture. The paper will hold. It's more responsive to trying to like put maybe a curved shape in there, and it'll hold that a little better. So I'm gonna do that. Then the same on the other side. You can try it the way we did originally too. Like you don't, this is exploratory. You can do your own thing. I'm gonna do it like this, so. It's almost like bending kind of a wire. You gotta curl it around. All right, so now that we got that, this makes the next part a little bit fussier because I'm going to flip it over. And remember, we had this point that goes up past the edge, and I can't lay it flat this time because it will crush my entire thing. So I'm gonna just hold it in the air. I do this a lot with wet folding, not actually laying it on the table, because I think there's less of an emphasis on keeping it like flat, flattening everything down. It's a little more forgiving, but you can still see I've got that fold in there and it comes up past. And you know, I'm not gonna fold this down much either. I'm just gonna like press it in the middle there real good. So I've got to press, but I'm not gonna do it any farther than that. And then this goes back behind again. And flip it over. You can already see it looks very different from the last one. We're gonna fold it in half right here. Now sometimes when your fold is wet, it might not hold as easily. You might have like certain parts kind of unfolding. I don't think I'm gonna have a problem here, but I am gonna actually use a paper clip to just stick on here and make it, you know, keep it sort of together for maybe 10 minutes or so. And one thing, let's take this off so I can show you. One thing with just kind of finishing a piece like this, you can tell, obviously, this is a lot, like I said, it's got almost that more fabric-y feel, but you can also play with it more and it's going to be more responsive to, say, modeling it a little bit. I'm going to spray it a little bit more. And then if I want to do something like with the tails right here, I can curl them up. See how this goes? Kind of give it a little more dimension. So the little bottom wings kind of get a little flare to them as well. And there we go. Two little butterflies, same design, but kind of different. So you can play around with these and try other designs. Like I like doing two different designs in both ways, so you can see the difference, and you can find other designs online. Check out Akira Yoshizawa. And there's our dry folding and our wet folding.